Your minimalism is quietly making you miserable. Look at the room you tried to make perfect. The white walls, the empty shelf you were so proud of, the corner you cleared out 3 months ago that somehow has a pile in it again. You threw things away. You bought a book about owning less. You watched the videos, you folded the shirts, you counted your belongings down to some number that was supposed to set you free. And you still walk into your own home and feel tired, heavy, like something is missing and you can't name it. Here's the thing nobody told you. You didn't fail at this. The whole idea failed you. Because what the West sells you as Japanese minimalism is not what Japan actually does, not even close. There is one Japanese word sitting at the center of all of this, and it got mistranslated so badly that millions of people are now chasing the exact opposite of what it means. I'll get to that word. Stay with me, because by the end, I'm going to give you something called the Ma test. 2 minutes, standing in your own living room, and you'll see your home in a way you can't unsee. Let's start with what nobody wants to admit. Walk into a traditional Japanese room. Your first instinct is to notice what's there. A low table, a scroll on the wall, maybe a single flower. But a Japanese eye isn't really reading the objects. It's reading the space between them. There's a word for that space. Ma. It means the gap, the pause, the interval. The emptiness that gives everything else room to breathe. And in Japan, ma isn't nothing. Ma is the thing. A room isn't designed around its furniture. It's designed around the silence between the furniture. The pause is not what's left over. The pause is the point. And this is exactly where the West took a wrong turn. We looked at those calm, spacious Japanese rooms and thought the lesson was simple. Own less stuff. Get the number down. Empty the shelves. But emptiness was never the goal. Breathing room was. And those are not the same thing. Mistaking one for the other is the reason your minimalist apartment feels less like peace and more like a waiting room. Hold on to that word. Ma. The space that breathes. Everything I'm about to tell you comes back to it. So let's talk about what Western minimalism actually became. It started as a rebellion, and a good one. Own less, want less, step off the treadmill. Beautiful instinct. But somewhere along the way, it turned into something strange. It became an aesthetic, a look, a performance. Think about it. Minimalism handed you a color palette, white, beige, and one sad little houseplant. It handed you a rule book. It handed you influencers who own 33 items and really want you to know it. And here's the part that should make you laugh, or maybe wince. It handed you things to buy. Minimalist furniture, minimalist storage, a $300 bin to hold your emptiness. Somehow, own less quietly turned into a whole new shopping category. That's not freedom. That's the same consumer machine wearing a quieter outfit. And it does something quietly cruel to you. It turns your home into a scoreboard. Every object becomes a question. Should this be here? Am I allowed to keep this? Does a real minimalist own this? You start walking through your own rooms, auditing yourself. That coffee mug your sister gave you. The books you haven't read yet. The slightly worn chair you actually love. Under this system, every one of them becomes evidence that you're not disciplined enough, not clean enough, not there yet. You know that low hum of guilt you feel at home? That's not a mess. That's a scoreboard you never agreed to keep. Now pause here, because I know what you're thinking. Isn't owning less a good thing? Of course, less clutter, more calm, no argument from me. But there's a difference between removing what weighs on you and living in a permanent state of not enough. One of those is peace. The other is just a nicer-looking anxiety. Minimalism counts. It asks over and over, how little can you own? And a question you can never finish answering isn't a philosophy. It's a treadmill with better lighting. The shift. Your home was never supposed to be a test you pass. It's supposed to be a place that holds you. Now for that word, the one that got mistranslated. Danshari. You've probably seen it sold to you as a tidying method. Declutter your house, throw out the junk, feel amazing. And that translation isn't wrong, exactly. It's just shallow. It stops at the furniture and never reaches the point. Danshari is 3 characters, and each one is a verb about your mind, not your closet. Dan, to refuse, to stop the flow of things coming in. Sha, to let go of what you already hold. And Re, to detach from the desire itself. Refuse, release, detach. Read those again. Not one of them is about a tidy shelf. They're about the craving underneath the shelf. Danshari doesn't ask you to clean your house. It asks you to heal the part of you that keeps needing to fill it. That's the difference the West missed completely. Western decluttering fixes the closet, and then 2 months later, the closet is full again. Because the closet was never the problem. The problem is the hand that keeps reaching for more. Danshari goes for the hand. Let me put you somewhere for a second. It's 7 in the evening in a small Tokyo apartment, 25 square meters, if that. You step in through the genkan, that little sunken entryway by the door where shoes come off and the outside world stays behind. The light is low and gold. Somewhere there's the sound of water just starting to boil. And the room in front of you is not empty. There's a cushion, a lamp, a single shelf with a few chosen things. It isn't a showroom. It's a life, held lightly. That feeling, that calm, is not the result of throwing things away. It's the result of not needing to grab in the first place. And notice which of the 3 verbs comes first. Dan, refuse. Before you ever declutter a single drawer, you close the door a little. You stop the free samples, the sale you didn't plan on, the 3rd version of something you already own. Most of us skip straight to discarding, then wonder why the tide keeps rolling back in. Japan starts upstream. Refuse the flow, and half the clutter never even enters the house to begin with. Now, pause again, because I can already hear the objection. This just sounds like an excuse to keep all my stuff. I get it. And honestly, some Japanese people would tell you the same. That danshari done lazily becomes just another way to avoid ever letting go. Fair. But notice what danshari actually asks you first. Not, what do I keep? It asks, what am I still chasing? Start there, and the keeping and the letting go both get a whole lot simpler. The shift. Stop cleaning the closet. Start with the hand that keeps filling it. Here's a question that gets right to the heart of it. Why does a minimalist apartment feel cold while a simple Japanese room feels warm? Same lack of clutter, completely different feeling. Why? 2 more words. And these 2 are the soul of the whole thing. The first is Wabi-Sabi. It's the beauty of the imperfect, the worn, the incomplete. A cup with a hairline crack. A wooden table gone soft and pale at the edges from years of hands. A tea bowl that isn't quite symmetrical. To a Western minimalist eye, those are flaws. Replace them, upgrade them, get the clean matching set. To a Japanese eye, Those same marks are the most beautiful part of the object, because they're proof that it was lived with, used, loved. The second word is mono no aware. It's harder to translate. A gentle ache at how everything passes, the awareness that nothing lasts, and that this is exactly what makes it precious. It's the feeling in the last week of the cherry blossoms when they're the most beautiful precisely because you know they're about to fall. Put those two together, and you finally understand why the Japanese room is warm and the minimalist room is cold. Minimalism erases evidence. It wants the surface clean, the history gone, everything looking like it was bought this morning. Wabi-Sabi keeps the evidence. The scratch, the fade, the crack filled back in with gold. Those aren't damage. They're the diary of a life. There's even a whole craft built around this idea. Kintsugi, repairing a broken bowl with gold so the cracks aren't hidden, they're highlighted, traced in something precious. Think about how backwards that is to the Western instinct. We hide the repair. We want it to look like it was never broken in the first place. Kintsugi does the exact opposite. It says the break is part of the story now, and the story is worth gold. Think about what that means for the mug your sister gave you, the one with the chip in the rim. In a minimalist system, it fails the test. It's imperfect, it doesn't match, out it goes. Under Wabi-Sabi, that chip is the entire reason to keep it. Because that chip is a Tuesday morning 10 years ago. That chip is her. Stop here. Let that land. The scratch is not the flaw. The scratch is the story. And this is the line I want you to carry out of this video. Minimalism asks how little you can own. Japan asks how lightly you can live. Those are not the same question. One of them counts your things. The other one loosens your grip. The shift. A home isn't beautiful because it's empty. It's beautiful because it remembers. There's one last piece, and it's the one that actually heals you. When you do let something go, and you will, real letting go is part of all of this. How you let it go matters. There's a word for the way Japan does it. Mottainai. Mottainai is a feeling of respect for the worth of a thing. A quiet sense that waste is a kind of sadness. It's what your grandmother meant when she couldn't bring herself to throw away good food. Except, in Japan, it reaches everything. Objects, time, effort, the life a thing still has left in it. Watch how different this is from the way minimalism taught you to purge. The Western declutter is a frenzy, a single weekend, a wall of trash bags, a quick dopamine hit, and everything gone by Sunday night. And then, this is the part nobody ever admits, you slowly buy it all back. Because you never actually changed your relationship with owning. You just did a little violence to your stuff and called it progress. Mottainai won't let you do that. It slows you down at the exact moment of letting go. It asks you to honor the thing, to notice that it did its job, to feel a small flicker of gratitude, and then release it cleanly so it can go be useful somewhere else. Give it away. Pass it on. Let it have another life instead of a landfill. And something strange happens when you let go like that. You stop needing to replace it. Because the ache was never really about the object. The ache was the grabbing. And mottainai, done honestly, quiets the grabbing. Try it once and you'll feel the difference in your body. Pick up the thing you're finally ready to release. Don't just chuck it in a bag. Hold it for a second. This coat kept you warm for 4 winters. This gift meant somebody was thinking of you. Thank it, quietly, and then hand it to someone who needs it now. It sounds almost silly, until you actually do it. And then you notice something. You don't ache to replace it. That ache, it turns out, was the thing keeping your house full all along. That's the whole secret the West flattened into tidy up. It was never about the house. Every single one of these words, Danshari, Wabi-Sabi, Mono no aware, Mottainai, is pointing at the same place. Not your closet. You. Your relationship with wanting. The shift. Don't throw it out. Let it go. With respect, and without needing to fill the space it leaves behind. So here's what I promised you at the start. The Ma test. It takes 2 minutes, and you can do it the second this video ends. Step 1. Stand in the middle of your main room. Don't touch anything yet. Just look, not at your things, but at the space between them. Where is there still room to breathe? And where is everything crowded, stacked, pressed together with no gap at all? Step 2. Find the one surface with the least breathing room. The counter, the desk, that chair, you know the one. And ask it a different question than minimalism ever taught you. Not, what can I get rid of? Ask, what here am I still chasing? What's on that surface because you were grabbing, filling, proving something to somebody? Step 3. Remove one thing. Just one, not to hit a number, to give the space back its breath. And notice how the room feels afterward. Not emptier, lighter. That's Ma. That's the whole philosophy in one small act. Because here's what I want you to walk away with. You don't need a wider room. You don't need to own 33 things. You don't need to fail one more time at somebody else's rulebook. Minimalism asks how little you can own. Japan asks how lightly you can live. Live lightly. Remember that white room from the very start of this video? The one you were so proud of that somehow still felt cold and heavy. It was never asking to be emptier. It was only ever asking to breathe. That's all it was. So tell me, down in the comments, what's the one thing on your surface that you're still chasing? Just name it. Saying it out loud is where all of this starts. And if this reached something in you, share it with one person whose home you've walked into and quietly thought, they don't need less. They need lighter.